Pierce Carlton took the next exit onto Highway 14, heading to Fort Collins. He wondered what he'd gotten himself into by agreeing to look for Salem, a black female German shepherd who might or might not be missing. In theory, handlers and dogs weren't supposed to get too attached. Pierce had snorted the first time he'd heard that because how could one not? Still, this dog was last seen in the community of Arrowhead outside of Fort Collins, hence Pierce's stop here. If he remembered right, a small cafe was along this main boulevard that had absolutely the best apple pie you could buy. He pulled up to the cafe called Marge's. If ever a name could make you think of apple pie, it was a name like that. He went in and smiled. Right in front of him was a large glass case with lots of what looked to be homemade baked desserts. His stomach growled. A portly woman walked toward him. "Well, that's a sound I like to hear." He looked at her in surprise. "Please don't tell me that you can hear my stomach from all the way over there," he joked. She smiled and nodded. "My ears are trained for that. Come on in and take a seat. We'll get some food in that belly." But he didn't want to leave the glass case in front of him. "What's the deal with all these treats?" "Well, they're for sale," she said. "Is that what you mean? Are they fresh baked, home-baked, or brought in from a city somewhere?" "I bake all my own pies here," she said proudly. "I'm Aunt Marge." She held out a big, beefy arm and a rotund, muscly hand. He gave it a good shake and knew she did the baking herself from the strength of those arms alone. "So is there real food too, or do I just eat apple pie for the entire meal?" "Nope, you're going to sit down and have a good-sized burger and some fries, and then we'll give you a piece of pie to top it off." He hadn't been terribly hungry when he walked in, but just the sound of that made his mouth water. Obligingly, he went to the table she pointed out and sat down. Within seconds, he had a hot cup of coffee in front of him. "What brings you into our town?" she asked. "What makes you think I'm not a local?" he asked, looking around. "I heard you had the best pies around, but I haven't been here in many years. This is a small community. I know every person who lives here. The rest are mostly passing through." "Well, if they know about all those baked goods under that glass," he said, "I wouldn't be at all surprised if everybody goes out of their way to come here." She chuckled. "Enough that I make a fine living," she said with a smirk, and she disappeared into the kitchen in the back. He could hear her talking to somebody and wondered if this was a mom-and-pop place. She came back out soon with cutlery and a glass of water. "You never answered my question." "I'm tracking down a dog," he said. "Purebred? For breeding?" Surprised by that line of questioning, he shook his head. "No, she's a war dog, shipped home with her handler. He had to have multiple surgeries, then ended up in a rehabilitation center and wasn't able to leave. Since he couldn't live on his own, the dog got lost somewhere in all that." "Pete Lowry," she said abruptly. Startled, he looked up at her. "Sorry? Are you looking for Pete Lowry's dog, Salem?" Pierce frowned, pulled out his phone, checked the notes, and said, "Yes, I am." He twisted to look at her. "Do you know where the dog is?" "It attacked somebody," she said, staring at him hard. He didn't know what she was looking for, but her gaze searched his as if to see which way he would go on the issue. His heart sank. "Seriously?" She nodded, her face grave. "I'm not sure what happened, but she bit a man in the leg," she said. "She might still be at the police security yard, locked up. There was some talk about putting her down, but I haven't heard the outcome on that." "Who could I talk to about it?" "You'll have to speak to the sheriff," she said. "Give him about a half hour, and he'll probably pop in here for coffee and pie." And, with a smirk, she left again.